Sorry, Lizzie.
You're fine. You're fine.
Do you hear that, Joe?
I don't.
Just my ears.
It's
Hopefully,
just your ears. I
Okay,
don't hear
good.
anything
Because
except
it's
for
a.
when I don't hear it.
That's what we do at the show. Before the show, we figure this
That's
stuff
right.
out.
I don't hear it.
It might be your, yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear it.
Huh.
I'll come in and check and see if there might be like a power line next to my earphones. Oh, he doesn't have his in.
He's trying the regular ear.
Yeah, I see.
That's why we have the show before the show.
That's right.
Test.
No, I hear you fine, but yeah, I still hear it.
It must be that. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I don't hear it at all here.
Hey guys, welcome to the show before the show. Like, subscribe, share the show. Good morning to you, Ben and Bindi, and to you, Elizabeth, Tricia.
Happy first day of spring, everyone.
I thought tomorrow is.
I think it's today. Let me double check. No, I'm pretty sure it's today.
Janice Dean, the weather queen, said that the first full day of spring is tomorrow. Does it come in like tonight, maybe? Or
Maybe that's a good. I don't know. And she's typically right. Maybe I'm just getting all excited about it.
Good morning, Chris. Thanks, guys, for liking, subscribing, sharing the show, getting it out there. No, I would tell you. It's just that scratchy sound, continual scratchy sound. I mean, I can go through the show.
Nothing's changed at all, no matter what I mess with.
No. Nada.
Yeah, the spring equinox. So spring officially starts at 11:06 this evening.
11 p.m.?
Well, yeah, 11 p.m. Yeah, well, really our time, 10:06 p.m.
Okay. That's why she said the first full day. I guess
Yes.
the spring would be tomorrow.
Correct.
You get an hour and a half of it or whatever.
That's right. That's right. So you know what? I fooled you. It's not really spring yet till tonight. I met Janice Dean in person, and she's a sweetheart. And Bindy's saying, yes, it is today, even though it's this evening, because it's kind of a day early because of leap year. That makes sense. Well, not really. Doesn't really make sense to me, but it's all good. Everyone, please like whatever platform you're on, share the show today. Share with someone that you haven't ever seen on the chat line or someone that you don't even think's listening after the fact. Share to a group today. And we are live on every platform.
Appreciate that.
We're live on every platform.
So it's not coming through the main audio. I'll figure it out after the
Yeah,
show.
just mine.
Okay.
But that's totally fine.
Okay. If it's bearable.
Oh, of course. Appreciate everybody jumping in. Like, subscribe, share the show. Love it when you guys jump in on all of those things. Got another politician in today, Dave Gregory. They're running for state senate. He'll be here at 9:00. He's somewhat a new daddy. You remember what that's like?
I've seen the pictures.
Child's a few months old.
Yes. Love it.
I was talking to somebody recently. They were talking about how horrible the real estate was. That you, Florida,
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
And then yesterday too,
Yeah.
again afterwards.
Mm-hmm. You heard it after the show.
Yes.
Yeah. Florida apparently is a complete train wreck due to all the reasons we talked about yesterday.
And realtors have now agreed that sellers, there will be no seller fees for sure.
Yeah.
That's
that out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you can hack the little bit higher interest rate, realtors and homeowners and buyers are more willing to negotiate on things right now. So if you can hack the little bit higher interest rate, it's not necessarily a bad time to buy or sell. Well, that's given maybe you didn't lose your job due to the economy. But I guess there's a whole lot of reasons it's not good. But if you are in the position to do it, it's not necessarily bad. Except for if you're in Florida. Don't buy in Florida right now. I love this. So Trisha said that she's cracking herself up right now. Her parents' 60th anniversary this week, and she has a talking Trump happy 60th card just popped up. That would make me smile too. That's a good one. That's typically what people get me for my birthday is like a Trump talking card. Makes my day.
It was so damn cold this morning in the Midwest.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It was very cold. It's supposed to warm up through the day around here, but then get cold again before we go to bed. $7:59, in case anybody cares.
7:59 Central Time. What do we got?
And Chris is saying that's what happens to Florida real estate when your hands-on governor isn't in your state for almost a year after being reelected.
Oh,
Good point, Chris.
Yeah.
It's the show before the show. Everybody, please like and share it on your pages.
All right, we can go ahead and start the show. So much going on. I've just been studying here. All right, kind of boring. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, they're like, you two aren't even talking this
Yeah,
time.
it's because
There's
my
just
mind.
so much.
No, I was just studying up everything.
Mm-hmm.
The calm before the
Yeah,
storm.
because the storm's coming.
But it was actually the storm in my mind before the calm broadcast.
Well, there you go. Well, if the storm is in your brain, the storm's going to be on the show.
The storm.
The storm is coming. It's coming.
So I was just reading another article. Podcasts are becoming even more popular for a variety of things.
Yep. Podcasting is the
and
way to
promoting
go.
businesses.
Mm-hmm.
It's the new big marketing tool. It's the new frontier
It is.
for marketing for businesses. Sorry.
Sure.
All right. All right. Let's go, Joe. Start. Well, welcome into Cancel Show.com. I'm Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house. We're ready to rock and roll a Tuesday. It is March 19th. Okay, Show.com, Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central, and all the time on our website, Show.com. We've got merchandise there. We've got a donate button. If you know of advertisers we can combine with, sponsors, let us know. We appreciate that as well. Projo's got things rocking and rolling, ready to go. Lizzie is ready to go as well with her baseball cap on. When she has her baseball cap on, don't mess with her.
Yeah.
It means she is ready to get things done.
That's right. I'm ready to rumble when the cap goes on.
I don't know if you turn it around. It's a switch.
That's right.
From the best arm wrestling movie of all time. Maybe the only arm wrestling movie of all time. Over the Top. Sylvester Stallone. I feel a switch when I take my hat and I turn it around. I take my hat and I turn it around.
Yeah, you know what? Our listeners
switch.
have not seen that you do come in here sometimes with your hat turned around.
I haven't done that in a long time.
You did last week before the show.
Oh, before the show, but I haven't gone on.
No, you haven't gone on. That's what I'm saying. You should do it someday.
No, there's kind of old Coke and new Coke.
Yeah.
It was kind of old Vic, new Vic.
Okay. So the old Vic wears the cap backwards and now the new Vic doesn't?
I feel a switch.
I feel a switch coming on.
We're ready to get things going. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, share the show. You know where to find us. If you don't, let people know. We're all over several platforms: X, Rumble, YouTube, Clout Hub, whatever that is. Twitter, Twitch. I mean, we got so many things, and of course, all your audio platforms as well. We are grateful that you guys are ready to get things done today. A lot of news regarding the Supreme Court today, which we're going to get into as well, which is very interesting. And the court is still trying to decide what they're going to do regarding First Amendment, free speech. It's just I don't like where this is going.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get into that. Andrew Bailey, Missouri Attorney General, you're going to hear from him. He did an interview with Elon Musk last night.
I love it.
Isn't that great?
It's great.
It's like, I didn't know it was more interesting. Elon Musk doing the interview or Elon Musk saying that he practically lives on the drug ketamine. Do you know anything about ketamine, Joe? Because you're kind of not that you're a drug,
no,
but you're drug educated.
Yeah, I'm street smart. However, I don't have any experience with that.
So you're not a ketamine expert?
No,
okay.
not.
So we have no ketamine expert on the show.
Not in the
We're going to have
house,
to get us one.
I'm glad one person listening that's on the chat line actually said, that's a great movie. Over the Top.
Uh-huh.
Sylvester Stallone. Kenny Loggins, Meet Me Halfway Across the Sky. That song was in the movie. Anyway.
She got your reference.
One person did. At least there was one. Susan says, poor Joe.
She's empathizing with Joe. We pick on Joe.
Joe is drug educated, which means we call him druggy. drug educator.
Oh yeah, bump.
Like Joe Pro, Joe P.
Joe P.
Ketamine.
P.
It's
Joe.
ketamine, not ketamine, ketamine. Jackson Lee has one of the worst First Amendment takes ever. I've heard. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. Stephanie said we used to give it to cats before surgery when I worked in vets hospitals.
Now, every time I hear that, I'm going to think, okay, is that person who's taking it, is it a cat?
Oh, it reminds me of that I word we used to talk about.
Yeah, that I word.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They use that on horsies.
Yeah.
Somebody says it's for depression. Interesting. Well, Elon Musk has been very open about some of the things that he battles with, and possibly Asperger's, and one of the most intelligent people on the face of the earth right now.
Absolutely. It must be tough to be.
Chris says what he's taking is an animal tranquilizer.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know if it worked. Hey,
they're actually using it now for people who have extreme PTSD and bipolar disorder.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there it is.
There you go.
Is it natural?
I
wonder,
I don't know. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. And Sherry said it's the date rape drug.
Ketamine is? No,
that's not it.
No way.
No, that's Rufalin or something like that.
Because that would knock your ass out, as we have seen with certain things.
Yeah, no.
We've been talking about roofies, and I don't know that that's the same thing. Maybe
ketamine is not. No.
Okay.
That I do know.
That you were the drug.
We've learned a lot about drugs since you joined the show.
I don't know if I should.
Where's your camera shot?
Oh, here we go. Hold on.
There you go. Come on, put your camera on.
And one of these times, it's all right to have a joint while you're on the show.
He would never
I could just
do
spark
that.
one up while
Hell yeah.
And the smell goes out to the lobby.
I'll check. Hey, there's a lot of business.
I don't think Strategic Air Services would appreciate what you're saying, Mr. Fowler.
Do those windows open?
They do.
Yes.
No, actually they don't. I thought you meant like the blinds.
So. Oh yeah, so we got that. Anyway, Megan says, "Hey, vets use it too much, and you go into a quote K-hole, and it's really bad." Yeah, I saw that too about Joe with the PTSD and pain management. Apparently, okay, I give up. You guys are all so damn. We bring up a topic,
and they all have.
And I know we have listeners all across the country, but damn, you guys know everything.
That's great. I love it. I've learned so much from the listeners on Cancel This. They are so educated. They really are.
Should we have a listener appreciation Thursday where a listener joins us? I don't know.
Correct. Yeah, we should. We should absolutely have that every Thursday.
Our show continues to grow, and it's because of you guys liking, subscribing, and sharing the show. Maybe we do that. We've had Robert on before, and he was interesting for our Free for All Friday segments. Maybe there's something there.
We've had a couple of our listeners on, but we need to do it like, okay, here's listener segment Thursday.
Sherry says, guys, I'm sorry. Ketamine is known, all caps, as the date rape drug. Google it. By the way, we're also going to be talking about Google. If you didn't know already, has already interfered in 41 elections over the last 16 years. How about that? Google.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. David Gregory, former state rep in Sunset Hills, personal injury attorney, ran for, I believe it was state auditor, wasn't it? Auditor. And then now he's running for state Senate. He's got some great polling numbers coming out. He's going to talk about a new bill that he's trying to get passed. Or he will get passed. He's going to put out a deportation bill. So we've been begging somebody do something about the illegals in the state of Missouri. Dave's trying. He's put together legislation.
I'm happy to hear it.
Somebody's taking the bull by the horns, and he's got it out there. It's getting a lot of hype right now. And it's another reason why it'll put him in a great spot to win that state Senate seat. So we're going to talk with Dave coming up at 9:00 today. And it's a bill and legislation that applies to anybody around the country, no matter what state you may be in. Andrew Bailey, of course, with the Supreme Court yesterday. You'll hear from Ketanji Brown, Jackson, literally saying that government should be able to tell people whatever they want. I mean, it's literally out there, which blows my mind. We've got a federal judge saying that illegals should have rights to bear arms. You can't make the shit up. It's actually going on. We'll tell you about another female who's allegedly rising the ranks of possibly being a VP candidate. I know it's been a lot out there, and Trump likes people to talk about that. Also, Trump not being able to post a $454 million bond. I had somebody try to tell me yesterday, he's broke. And I'm like, oh my God, these people are just lost.
He's not broke.
We'll explain all of that. Also, Samuel Alito from the Supreme Court justice also basically rebuttals Ketanji Brown Jackson as not having a brain. I mean, in a respectful manner in regards to what he said regarding everything that's happening with our First Amendment rights. These are the things that are out there right now. An update on Kaylee Gain, the Hazelwood Central 16-year-old, her attorney, and the girl, the 15-year-old girl who was in the fight where you see her throw her on the ground 3 times. Her attorney also spoke yesterday. So that's another story. We got a lot to get to. Anything else you guys want to throw in? We do that here on cancelthisshow.com. By the way, Jason says, from a Navy SEAL, 1, ketamine and a beer, you'll pass any lie detector test.
Really? So you can take both of those things and then just lie your butt off and you pass the test? That's interesting.
So I did look it up, and
Okay.
and it is confirmed that whoever the listener is,
Sherry.
yeah,
Sherry said
Sherry, she's correct, but we are also correct. It's Rufalin and ketamine are the most popular date rape
Okay, so
drugs.
you can get roofied by either one of them.
I'm assuming
So
so.
why the hell is does that
That's
mean
interesting.
Elon's mind is on such overdrive that he needs something?
It could be to slow
Can you
it
call
down.
get him on the phone?
Right? Yeah.
Call
let me-
Elon and
I'll get
ask
on
him.
that.
I bet his mind is just
Elon, if anybody knows you on X,
never
come on. We have a great
stops.
show Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central. We use your platform. By the way, it's become arguably one of our most popular platforms in about a week.
Yeah. And a week, X just took off in a week.
We weren't even putting our show on X.
We did it. And once we did, almost every day I keep track of who's on what platform, and X is kind of winning, especially even after the fact.
Yeah, we're grateful for that too. So thanks for jumping in.
Thanks, Elon.
And so somebody get Elon on the phone,
Yeah.
please.
Not to mention, it's just as reliable as Rumble. It seems.
It does seem like it. Yep. Since Elon took it over, it's as reliable. Before it wasn't. So thank you, Elon.
Anybody know any ketamine companies that want to do a sponsorship?
That's right. Hey, this is Cancel This.
We're a big ketamine shirt. Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Hey, by the way, as we get going here, shout out some of our advertisers. Complete Auto Body and Repair. They're jumping back on here in the next month or so. The fastest growing auto service center in the region. Of course, they're family owned. They've been offering the complete care car experience since 1973. Curtis Barks and crew. A bunch of tow truck companies. He's expanding all around the state. He is a busy man. Saw him here at the facility on Sunday with his beautiful wife and a friend. Experienced Real Estate Partners, of course, one of our audience favorites, Kathy L. Big Strick, Steve Strick. If you're going to do anything in the real estate industry, you do it now. 314-276-SOLD, 314-276-SOLD. Let them know you're from Cancel This. When it comes to a mortgage, you want to get pre-approved on anything. If you have any questions about mortgage, you give them a call. Steve Strick with New American Funding, powered by Square Mortgage. You can just call 314-276-SOLD and they'll get you to Steve. It's very easy. By the way, it's that time of year again. Renewal by Anderson, the St. Louis window and door replacement experts. Try them out. 0 payment, 0 interest, 24 months. We have links to all of our advertisers on our contacts page on our website, cancelthisshow.com. You literally click on it. There's no charge for getting a quote. They'll come out to your house. They'll show you how you can save money, how you can make your house more energy efficient. How about Route 66 Cannabis? No ketamine over there, but just some of the best THC cannabis you're going to find anywhere. They got the Cubana line. They've got the Ostara line as well. WeQuip USA, Paige Measley and crew, taking care of business, renting spaces and your items. Whatever you want to rent and make some money, you can do it. Just go to the website, wequipusa.com. You can rent your items or you can rent somebody else's items in your area. And of course, our favorite, Winty's Food Shack and Saloon. Ben and crew making it feel like one of the best neighborhood bars you will ever find, with some of the best food as well. Pizza, burgers, wings, smoked meats, served inside or on their large outdoor patio. And as it gets weather, that patio is great to be outside as well. Okay, cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house. I wanted to start with this whole Supreme Court stuff today. Is that a good, can we start with that?
Of course.
Okay. You've actually got a sitting Supreme Court Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, saying that the First Amendment is, quote, hamstringing the government. It, quote, hamstrings the government because they can't stop or tell Americans what to say, think, write. That's not her. That's all right. That's all right. That's for another judge. But no, I appreciate you trying to jump in. That's good, Joe. I love it. She says that Americans need to be stopped. And this goes all the way back to the lawsuit that was filed by Missouri's Eric Schmidt.
Love it.
I mean, literally, Eric Schmidt started this with a Louisiana governor. And now you've got the situation where Andrew Bailey has taken it over. The case is Murphy versus Missouri. And it is all about you being censored, as we know, and canceled on social media platforms. And it really covered two, as this hearing is taking place in front of the Supreme Court. Two items: what happened with COVID during the pandemic and election interference. And you literally, and it's not just Ketanji Brown Jackson, but there are justices across the board that feel as if the government has the right to do this. I'm not kidding. Andrew Bailey thinks that it was a good day for their case. Their attorneys do too, but they're not going to say it's a bad case. But at the end of the day, regardless of what every side says, think about this. You actually have a Supreme Court justice saying publicly that the government should be able to stop you from posting whatever you want.
You know what?
Let that sink in.
I mean, when you say that, we always say that this is a state-run media that we have here in the United States, that is just as bad as, say, Russia or China. But now they're not even hiding it at all. I mean, that's scary to think that we live in the freest nation and they can control what we say, and they want to do it legally, not just sneakily.
They feel as if they can tell platforms, as the Biden administration did. This isn't a rumor. They literally told platforms to shut down comments regarding the pandemic and election.
And we knew they were doing it. Now they're admitting it.
Josh Hawley also fighting from a Senate standpoint to get the word out to not let this happen. Andrew Bailey doing the best that he can do. But the problem with this whole situation is Jackson's comments strike at you, the listener, and you know this is a problem, a serious freaking problem. Well, it's so bad that even Elon Musk got involved. And last night he interviewed, and I love this, Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey. Here's an excerpt from their interview. You can go online and find it. You don't see them, but you hear them. Glenn says, "Welcome to China." But here is their interview last night, the audio, just a clip from Andrew Bailey and Elon Musk talking about what's going on. And kudos to Elon. I mean, he's becoming a political reporter of sorts, kind of monitoring things that are going on there. Here, check this out.
My view of the Constitution is that it exists to protect us from the government.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So the fact that it is hamstringing, the First Amendment hamstrings the government's ability to censor free speech is a good thing. And she almost characterized it as a bad thing. And yet the legacy again ignores that headline altogether in favor of talking about how skeptical the justices were of this coercion argument.
Yeah, the whole point of the Constitution is to constrain the power of government, and so that it does not turn against the people. And that's also something where, people come here from other countries where they were used to an extremely coercive government, where they didn't just lack freedom of speech, but they lacked many freedoms. And that's why you have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, because one of the other things that people have in the countries they came from is that they weren't allowed to have guns, because the way to suppress the population is to control the news and make sure that the population has no guns. And the point at which you control the flow of information and you have the weapons, you control the people.
My view of the Constitution.
So, Elon hosting Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who is now taking this over. That was initially put forward by Eric Schmidt, and credit to U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt for getting this started in the first place. To do this, the only way you're going to have any success is to continue to fight, and you're fighting the government. Glenn, welcome to China, welcome to Russia, whatever you want to say when it comes to these situations. Once again, it's not getting any better. And they're actually, we're before a Supreme Court actually deciding if they can stop what you put out there. There are literally attorneys, and you'll hear in a second, well, at the time we thought it was best for America. And thank God there's some sense with Supreme Court Justice Alito. Here is Alito doing an interview regarding what happened yesterday at the Supreme Court. Justice Alito, for the most part, is usually had a pretty good mind when it comes to some of the things that are going on. And I'm grateful that this was put forward by Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk did a really good job putting this out there when it came to what he had. And here's part of his oral argument. We won't listen to the whole 4 minutes, but you have to hear what he had to say regarding this situation.
Exchanged between the White House and other federal officials and Facebook in particular, but also some of the other platforms. And I see that the White House and federal officials are repeatedly saying that Facebook and the federal government should be partners. We're on the same team. Officials are demanding answers. I want an answer. I want it right away. When they're unhappy, they curse them out. There are regular meetings. There is constant pestering of Facebook and some of the other platforms, and they want to have regular meetings. And they suggest, they suggest rules that should be applied, and why don't you tell us everything that you're going to do so we can help you and we can look it over. And I thought, wow, I cannot imagine federal officials taking that approach to the print media, our representatives over there. If you did that to them, what do you think the reaction would be? And so I thought, the only reason why this is taking place is because the federal government has got Section 230 and antitrust in its pocket, and it's to mix my metaphors, and it's got these big clubs available to it, and so it's treating Facebook and these other platforms like they're subordinates. Would you do that to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or the Associated Press or any other big newspaper or wire service?
So there's a lot packed in there. I want to give you one very specific answer first, and then step back out to the broader context. So specifically, you mentioned demanding an answer right away and cursing them out. The only time that happens is in an email that's about the president's own Instagram account. It's not about moderating other people's content.
Okay, well, put that aside. There's all the rest. Constant meetings, constant emails. We want answers. Right. We're partners. We're on the same team. Do you think that the print media regards themselves as being on the same team as the federal government, partners with the federal government?
So potentially in the context of an effort to get Americans vaccinated during a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. And I really think that piece of context, it doesn't change the First Amendment principles, but it's relevant to how they apply here. And I think it's important to understand that at this time, this was a time when thousands of Americans were still dying every week, and there was a hope that getting everyone vaccinated could stop the pandemic. And there was a concern that Americans were getting their news about the vaccine from these platforms, and the platforms were promoting, not just posting, but promoting bad information.
I understand all that, and I know the objectives were good. But once again, they were also getting their news from the print media and the broadcast media and cable media, and I just can't imagine the federal government doing that to them. But maybe I'm naive. Maybe that goes on behind the scenes. I don't know, but it struck me as, wow, this is not what I understand the relationship to be. That's all.
But I do. I think this is important because I have the same reaction that you do, that these emails look unusual. I think the idea that there'd be back and forth between the government and the media isn't unusual at all. When the White House press secretary on July 16th is asked about this by the press at the time, what she says is, of course we talk to the platforms just the way we talk to all of you when we have concerns about what you're doing, when we have information that you might find helpful. Now, there's an intensity of the back and forth here, and there's an anger that I think is unusual, but the context for that, I think, is that these platforms were saying publicly, we want to help. We think we have a responsibility to give people accurate information and not bad information. And we're doing everything we can to meet that goal. That's where this language of partnership comes from. It's not just from the White House. It's these platforms, which are powerful, sophisticated entities, saying we're doing the best we can. And the anger, I think really most of the anger when you read the emails, and I appreciate that you have because I think you have to look at them in context, the anger is when the officials think that the platforms are not being transparent about the scope of the problem or aren't giving the information that's available.
Okay, it was clear what was going on there. Thank God Justice Alito is what he is and bringing common sense. That wasn't even a political view. It was common sense. The government in bed with the platforms, you can't do that. And you have a whole, oh yeah, of course we can do that because this is what we like. And here's the sad thing. You can wear a mask if you want. You can get shots if you want. You can vote for Biden if you want. You can have all the illegals come into this country and take jobs if you want. That's your prerogative to back all of that. But guess what? That doesn't mean it's right. It is a communist country. If you have platforms that are talking with the White House, I still cannot believe we're discussing this as a news story, which is why we'll discuss it because this is before the Supreme Court right now. How many conservative justices do we really have?
It makes you wonder, because when they were getting appointed, I wondered, how conservative are they really? I mean, I understand that they have to follow the law, but it's getting scary to think that we turn on our platforms or look at our newspapers or look at anything or answer our phones, and the government controls what's going into these things.
And this may be controversial, but from what I have seen and what has happened, I don't blame Facebook. I
You
don't. No.
You don't blame Zuckerberg?
No, here's why. Because most people, if you get a call from the White House and they'll find a way to take you down. They'll find a way to limit you. They'll find a way to take money from you. And yeah, Zuckerberg's liberal. We get it. But these are the kind of things that happen. And if the pressure continues to be put on you, it can come from a variety of ways. This is the freaking White House. This was Barack Obama and Joe Biden.
Correct.
Just look what they're doing to Trump.
Absolutely.
They would do the same thing to Zuckerberg.
Well, and if they can do everything that they're doing to Trump and Trump supporters, they can do it to these liberals as well. As much as I didn't like Vic saying what he just said, because that sounds like communism, but it's like communist Vic, but it's like, he's not wrong. I mean, it is. If you get that much pressure and you think the White House is coming down on you, even the strongest conservative might cave.
This is the White House. It's not Facebook. And and it could be any platform. And we're going to talk about Google in just a little bit as well, what they were doing.
Yep. Google was just as guilty.
DuckDuckGo. I'm just going to say it again. DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. If I said DuckDuckGo yet, anyway.
DuckDuckGo.
And as Glenn reminds us, the government / White House have been going after Elon Musk.
They sure have.
And not just him, but we saw that with advertising pulled out of X when he took over, because how dare Elon Musk try to make things right from a social media platform standpoint?
Correct.
He stood up. Thank God he had enough money. Now, Zuckerberg could have done it as well, but Musk isn't the type of guy you push around or try to threaten or try to say, these are the consequences if you don't listen to us. Elon Musk is wired differently.
Correct. And
he gives the middle finger and says, okay, watch what I'm going to do. The government forcing Facebook into bed with him. And now there's evidence of it. Don't forget that Joe Biden's White House contacted them, put pressure on them to not only suppress information, put people in jail, social media wise, shadow fanning, and so forth. All of those things going on. It's real. It happened. These are not like rumors and conspiracy theories. It went on. There's proof. That's why this case is there.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were talking about it and everybody was saying, oh, these are just rumors. This is just what you think. But the facts are right here now. They're right here. And
that guy, the Solicitor General, Brian Fletcher, whoever he was, speaking with Alito, was like, well, at the time, we thought we were doing a good job, because, we were dealing with this pandemic. And then you had people, people were dying and we couldn't get information out there that would bullshit. We know. What is it, Joe? It's a bunch of total
bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything that you're saying is bullshit. It's like our government is doing that. And Pam is saying on the chat line, and I don't disagree with her, that Zuckerberg has been along with the Democrats this whole time, because we know he's a liberal. But I did see a little wavering in him, because he talked to Donald Trump and people were all over him. And it was hurting the platform of Facebook when he had to go completely left, because there's plenty of conservatives that use this platform, plenty. And so I think he agrees politically with Obama and Biden, but I'm not sure how much he really wanted to do their bidding. He wanted to make money. And so, of course, he's in bed with him because he had no choice to do it.
Just think how many of us use social media.
Almost everyone. Well, everybody on this show has to use social media.
Everybody, when you go to social media, just know, and they're fighting for this. You've got a Supreme Court justice who is literally fighting to get this in, Ketanji Brown Jackson, who many argued whether she even had the qualifications to be a Supreme Court justice. And I'm not kidding. Break down her freaking biography, break down her resume compared to others and how she got into the position that she is in. Now, that doesn't mean every single position has been hardcore ultra left. And it's not that she's a quote bad person. I just wonder if she has the true chops to do that job when she comes out and says what she says, unless she's being paid underneath the table, because there's no person, man or woman in their right mind, who could be in any legal setting with any law degree that would think that it is even remotely an argument or a debate that the White House should be in bed with any social media platform and discussing back and forth. Well, you know what? You shouldn't put that out there. We don't like that. It is that person. You know what it is? This is the White House. The White House is that raging narcissist that just has their thumb on everything. No. I am the God. You're bad. This people, and the fact that they're debating, and there's some justices that are saying, well, you know what? Maybe the government does have the right to just shut people down.
Oh, that is so infuriating that you are even saying that this is what we're having to deal with. The government has a right to shut its people down. We, the people, are getting frustrated with that. And the good thing, even though all this is happening now, Vic, we've been known it's happening, but at least it's finally coming to light, what we've all known.
From the chat line, she's a Marxist appointed by a wannabe dictator. Also, when she couldn't define what a woman was. Remember, this is the same woman who said she couldn't define what a woman was.
That's right.
We should have immediately disqualified her, but it shows you what's going on in the United States, which is why we want to believe in what America was in the 80s, but America is not that anymore because too many people with bad intentions have infiltrated this government from the inside out, which is why we're dealing with more problems in this country has ever seen. And that includes the beginning of World War II. It is different. It is deadly. And of course, this isn't just for one quick quote battle. This is for the total annihilation of our country from the inside out. And that means ideals, principles, God, how this country became to the point that it is. And this is on overdrive. And how do you get to the people? You control the messaging. And the messaging always wins out because that's what gets pushed out. And then who controls the media? The liberal left does in a variety of senses. And it's not just opinion, as we've said. All the algorithms show when it comes to putting out political stories, the liberal left has their agenda and they have their way. And they got there over time. And now they're embedded. And the only way you take it down is you stop watching. You stop listening and you come to podcasts where you can trust and you do the research yourself.
Correct. Because so many people are in bed with the left. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday. Podcasts are the way to go because you can see what the government is doing. The government and people on the left are even scaring off people who support conservative news because they won't advertise. They'll shut you down. And it's all the left doing it. You can look at it in any shape or form. And actually, it's not just the left, I guess. It's the whole uniparty that's doing it. They want to shut people up that talk like this.
So they're going to continue to do this. It's also about controlling the education of the youth from the chat line. Disband the Department of Education. It should be one of the top priorities as well. There's so much to do. Even if a Trump comes into office, 4 years, there's not enough time, which is why it's so important to have the Senate and the House as well. And don't think that Democrats have not thought about this and the powers that be, as I've talked about. And the attacks on Donald Trump, even if he becomes president, won't stop. They'll probably become even more.
Oh, they will be.
And we've been saying this for over a year. It's all part of it. It's not going to stop. Pam reminds everybody what a novel concept here. The Constitution says all have free speech. The Supreme Court should side with that. My point exactly, which is why I can't even believe this even went before the Supreme Court. By the way, this was appealed because a lower court agreed with this case, Murphy versus Missouri. They won. Andrew Bailey won. Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who, by the way, is getting a lot of national hype right now for finishing up the case that Eric Schmidt started. They're actually having to talk about this. They are there to uphold it. This should be a slam dunk for free speech.
Wouldn't you think so? Wouldn't you think it would be a slam dunk? But it's not. And that's the problem we're facing here in America is our own people that many elected, I know a lot of them were selected, are trying to hurt us still. They just keep doing it over and over.
I think obviously we talk so much about the border because in my humble opinion, it's the worst thing that's going on in America. But I would agree. Your free speech, the Second Amendment, they've been coming after the guns for a long time. But your first is now there's an attack on free speech. So just think about this. this Constitution, which is what separated our country from all others to start. The Second Amendment has been under attack for a long time. Now the First Amendment, both the First and the Second Amendment of our national Constitution, under total attack right now. It is a war. It is a war over our, and a lot of people who are comfortable in their lives, they don't get it. They'll sit back. Oh, okay, whatever. They're just talking. But here's the problem. There's so many media messages, so many people. We're looking left, we're looking right. I'll head on a swivel. Oh, we got this story now. Oh, we got that story. Here we go. The attention span isn't there until everything is gone. I'm telling you, if you've been on social media and you dared give an opinion, you know what happened to you years ago in 2020,
Correct.
in 2021.
And even prior to that.
And
Censored.
it's still happening. Maybe not to the extent, but it still happens.
Correct.
I mean, we were talking 5G and dare us talk about the jab not so long ago, and we had a platform that took us down for about a month.
Yep, that is exactly right. And it was things that you should be able to talk about, but they took it
Facts
and said it was medical or health, disinformation. No, we were telling the truth. It's crazy. I mean, you're not allowed to speak the truth. And when someone muzzles you and doesn't let you speak the truth, you have to do it even louder because there's a reason that they're doing it and it's never good. So you have to get the word out. You have to break through the people that are trying to tell you to be quiet and get even louder. As Vic says, with patience and persistence and not yelling and screaming at people, but you still have to say it.
And if that wasn't bad enough with what's happening at the Supreme Court, as they continue to decide whether the government can stop you from putting out truth or at least lead it, I can't even believe those words are coming out of my mouth right now.
I can't either.
Thank God for the Media Research Center, which showed proof and study. These are the algorithms that I talk about. Google has interfered with major elections in the United States, not 5 times, not 10 times, not 20 times, not 30 times, not 40 times, 41 confirmed times over the last 16 years. That's according to the brand new study, the deep study by the Media Research Center. Quote, MRC researchers have found 41 times where Google interfered in elections over the last 16 years, and its impact has surged dramatically. It's increasing, making it even more harmful to democracy. In every case, Google, they actually harmed the candidates, regardless of party, who threatened its left-wing candidate of choice. They weren't harming all the liberal left candidates. They were only harming the liberal candidates that weren't their choice. But in every case, the Republican candidate was harmed.
In every case.
This is Google. This is according to the Media Research Center Free Speech America Vice President Dan Schneider and editor Gabriella Persaud. They wrote in a summary of their findings. And they put this out there. And if you put this out there and there's not truth, your ass will be sued. They brought the research to the table. Quote, from the mouths of Google executives, the tech giant let slip what was never meant to be made public, that Google uses its great strength and resources and reach to advance its leftist values. They continue saying that Google's outsized influence on information technology, the body politic, and American elections became evident in 2008 after failing to prevent then candidate for president Donald Trump from being inaugurated following the 2016 election. That's right. They went after Trump when he first started. Google has since made clear to any discerning observer that it has been and will continue interfering in America's elections. Now, to be fair, Google pushed back, insisting it has a clear business incentive to keep both sides happy, and that safeguards ensure non-biased and accurate search results, but it's just not true according to evidence. Because then when the algorithms are shown, it's all about positive for certain candidates. And in every case, the positive news stories were for the liberal left Democrat, never for one Republican in an election against a Democrat. That is according to the Media Research Center, what Google did. Quote, Google has utilized its power to help push to electoral victory the most liberal candidates possible, regardless of party, while targeting their opponents for censorship. Yeah, You get that. And here's some examples that they put and proved when it happened. Barack Obama was favored heavily over John McCain in 2008. Obama was favored heavily again over Mitt Romney in 2012. They also refused to correct what was called a Google bomb that smeared then leading GOP primary candidate for president, Rick Santorum. Remember him? Well, they were using its algorithm to exclude autofill results that were potentially damaging to Hillary Clinton in 2016. So they cut that out. Not doing the same for then candidates Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders. And of course, we already know what the Democratic National Convention did. Bernie Sanders should have been the candidate, not Hillary Clinton. They screwed over Bernie Sanders and said, shut your mouth or we'll shut it for you. And he went to the corner and all the Bernie Sanders supporters were pissed off and frustrated.
They were mad.
That's why they hate Hillary Clinton, because they literally got screwed and the Democratic National Convention told them that's what was going to happen. Other examples that were cited by the MRC, it doesn't stop there. They disabled Tulsi Gabbard's ad account just as she became the most searched candidate following the first Democratic Party primary debate in 2020. And I will go on the record because on our previous radio show, I know this woman is liberal, but I like her. I like her policies. She is one of those candidates that could come to the middle and I think maybe go over into the right. And that's exactly what she has done 3 years later.
Correct.
After she ended the presidential career or possibility for Kamala Harris. Remember, on the debate stage, she ruined Kamala. Kamala was done after Tulsi took her to task.
That's right.
And then we didn't hear from Kamala again until all of a sudden the powers that be said, Joe, this is going to be your running mate. She's the right color and we need her.
When people like Tulsi are the scariest to the far left because they know they can reach the average person because they're not lunatic far right. They make common sense. They were a Democrat. It's kind of like an ex-smoker, somebody that smoked who decides not to smoke anymore, are adamant for the truth of the health of a cigarette, where that's the same thing as a Democrat. If you are a Democrat that now becomes a conservative Republican or at least leans more to the right, they are toxic to the left because they know the truth.
Jay says, guys, everybody, try Google conservative topics and see how difficult it is to find. Cuckling Kamala, according to him. So dumb, Kamala hated Joe. Yeah, we already know that happened.
Yep, they still hate each other.
Okay, other examples cited besides the Tulsi situation, which we were just talking about. Of course, that was the 2021. Google was also fined to conceal most Republican campaign websites for the 12 competitive Senate races in 2022. I mean, this shit is like off the charts crazy. It also aided Biden in 2024 by burying in its search results the campaign websites of every single one of his significant opponents.
That was a mouthful.
And then think about, it's the tech guys are all in bed together. I mean, we already told you about Reid Hoffman and LinkedIn. I mean, he's the guy doing everything he possibly can to keep Donald Trump out of office, even supporting E. Jean Carroll's legal case to try to hurt him. And he was the one giving all the money to that one woman. I don't even remember her name anymore that thought that she could actually beat Trump in the primary. I don't even know who she is anymore.
Yeah, we forgot about
I know
her
she had
already.
dark hair.
Yeah, we don't care.
Anyway, Reid Hoffman was supporting her. So they had a lot of tools to use, and Google did this, according to the Media Research Center. And if you don't believe it, they would be suing the Media Research Center, and they can't because the facts are the facts, and they've been put out there now. Google strongly denies any wrongdoing, but the facts are there.
Yeah, the facts are there. They're right there, and they're denying it. And that tells you everything, too. You can't believe what they're saying.
I do like what the Media Research Center did with this as well. They have called out Speaker Mike Johnson, and they should call him out. Still don't know what to think about Mike. I don't know. They said that, quote, Mike Johnson should direct relevant committees and committee chairmen to investigate Google for abridging people's constitutional rights by coordinating with government to violate freedom of speech, inferring in elections by making unreported in-kind contributions, and for defrauding its users by failing to meet its terms of service.
That is now.
This is the final thing that I think needs to be said on it, Lizzie.
Okay, say it.
Their final quote, Media Research Center, no organization has more control over information than Google, And they have repeatedly used that power to manipulate the public to vote for the most left-wing candidates in every major election since 2008. And that is un-American to attempt to manipulate elections in this way. And it all ties in with what's happening with the Supreme Court right now.
Yeah.
How does it make you feel? Hunter, I mean,
I'm going to go back and start using Firefox or a web crawler.
I've never used either one of those.
You know, Firefox is always really reliable, but you know, screw Google.
and then I hear
Correct.
about DuckDuckGo,
Yep.
which is why I
DuckDuckGo.
said that a bunch. And we've been talking about DuckDuckGo for a while, and I
Yes.
appreciate you saying that too, Joe. I mean, hey, if you want to, that's how you strike back. It seems
Yeah.
it's just one little. There's power in numbers. Just one here, one there, one there, one there, one there. All you can do is take people's money away.
Correct. Absolutely. Somebody on one of the chat lines is saying they use Safari, but isn't Safari Google as well? I don't know.
Safari is Apple.
Oh, is Apple.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, there you go. I mean, I guess using Safari is better than Google now at this point, but DuckDuckGo is the way to go.
So think about that the next time you do this. Glenn says 100% it is election interference, invading
Absolutely.
weed. The Hunter Biden laptop story was a perfect example of that. You had generals signing off saying it was a fake story when it was real. That I pray for Americans to wake up. If you want to vote liberal, fine, but at least know all the facts. Go ahead, find whatever you need to do whatever you need to make you feel good. But man, we just want you to have the facts.
That's the problem is people do whatever they want to because it feels good at the moment, and then they ruin our country.
And this is true. Guys, don't forget about what Twitter was doing before Elon
Correct.
took over. I mean, Elon changed that in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And one of the reasons we never went to X or even thought about putting this show on X, however long ago, is because it's like, oh, they'll just be taking us down every day anyway.
Correct. And then it
People
dawned
just
on
be trying.
us.
I mean, it was a cesspool.
Yes. Oh, it was. We would
It was
not
a
have been on for
nasty
5 minutes.
cesspool of crap that was
Correct.
all over the place.
Yes. And now it is free speech. And you do have to watch because if there's some things you don't want to see, because it is free speech. And literally in less than a week, it's become our #1 platform, live even. Live. More people are on X than anything else. Thank you, Elon.
What a great and random Rick reviews. You're right, buddy. RRR. Google can do whatever they want because they don't have to use it. You're right. He says, I do use DuckDuckGo, but you are on YouTube, which is Google, 100%.
Yeah,
And
that's
and guess
exactly
what?
right.
We're also on Facebook because
And
here,
that
guess
sucker
what?
bucks.
There are people everywhere, bud. That's
There
why.
is.
We're also
And-
on Rumble.
And we're
Yeah,
also on Rumble.
Rumble.
So what we're trying to do is we're trying to reach as many people as possible as we possibly can. And guess what, Rick? Remember when maybe you weren't here, but at the beginning of the show, I said, guess what? There was a platform that has taken us down 3 different times.
Correct.
And I won't tell you which one it is, but you can figure it out.
You can figure it out. And it always has our lowest amount of people on it
It's the
too
blue one.
watching. It's definitely the lowest amount, but we want to be on every platform because everyone listens or watches differently and they're used to a different platform. But it is interesting, the freest of speech, and we know which ones those are, have the highest numbers of people watching before and after the show.
Donna says Elon should run for president. We've heard people say that before. He's too busy to do that right now.
Right.
Also, Rick says, I thought Grammys and great aunts used Facebook now. No, that is not correct.
No.
Not trying to come off as being terse. It's just, no, it's not. As a matter of fact, my daughter, who is 21, all of her friends have accounts too.
Oh, yeah. All my
They use
kids
it.
have accounts.
There was a time, and it's kind of going up and down like
Yes.
this, up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Glenn said because he wasn't born in the U.S., which is why he couldn't. Oh, but
Correct.
Obama ran for president.
Yeah, and he wasn't born in the U.S. but you have to forget, Elon could have done it. You remember, Elon was the god of the millennials and the far left until he spoke up and told the truth. So there you go.
I hadn't heard of this. Kevin says, I heard Brave was good. I may switch them via Quack Quack.
Okay, I've not used that one either.
I hadn't heard of that.
Yeah, I've heard of
we
it, but I've
appreciate
not-
you guys.
I've not used it.
Absolutely. But social media is not going anywhere. It's a part of American society. It's a part of our culture. It is a fabric of who we are, not only here in the United States, but around the world. It connects us in ways that are great. It is. It
Correct.
can be a great connector.
It can be.
And like I said, marketing and podcast, and these are the places and platforms that are used, which is why it's so damn important, which is why you have to fight in those arenas for what's right. I remember when I did local TV, I was like, how could you handle all that news that's going on and stuff in there? Why would you ever want to do that? And I'm like, you know what? At that point in time, I was like, somebody's got to be there. Somebody's got to change scripts when it doesn't have all the facts and it only tells one side. We got to go to those places. I mean, if that's in your heart, you run to those places where you can at least bring truth and facts to the table, not feelings and not, well, this is the way I was raised and this is how I feel. I don't want to listen to anybody else. And that's what this is all about with the White House. They don't want an opinion that's different than theirs. Like I said, they are the ultimate narcissist on steroids, running around trying to control everybody. Well, it's not our fault. It's your fault. And we're the God of everything. And that's the White House changed from night to day when it went from Obama to Trump. And then when it went from Trump to Biden, it changed again from day to night. And those stories that I say, it's dark.
And those are the biggest changes I think ever in our White House is between Biden Obama administrations before and after Donald Trump. It was the most obvious, purposeful changes.
And that's why we spent so much time on this in our first hour today, because of what is happening at the Supreme Court, what's happening with the research. People, it's all out there in front of our eyes. That the government's not hiding this anymore. Supreme Court justices are literally in front of their colleagues stating, well, you know, the White House and the government should have. She wasn't even saying it was wrong that the White House was trying to cancel your free speech.
She was thinking it was
Don't
fine.
forget her quote is, the First Amendment hamstrings the government. The First Amendment hamstrings the government. Quote, the First Amendment hamstrings the government. Exactly. It was intended to do that from the start so that people actually had a little say in what's going on. Because guess what? America had a different country here before, we had a revolution. Our forefathers would be rolling in their grave.
You know it. You know they're rolling in their grave.
The men and women who sacrificed so much to have this country's foundation start as it is and to grow as it has into the greatest country in the world, which I'm sorry, it is not anymore. Our ideals are for many of us, but the country isn't. Chat line says, so does the Second Amendment. Yeah, and I brought that up earlier. The First Amendment and the Second Amendment in this country are under attack. And it isn't by chance. It is by purpose. It is by plan, because there is so much that was going to happen. Heather said, I was just going to say that, Vic. Rolling, that is.
For sure.
Who said Mike Pence and Cammie for president?
Random Rick Reviews, the RRR on
That's
YouTube said Mike Pence and Kami, as I call her, Kami Harris for 2028. Could you imagine?
All of this stuff goes into a great reset. From the chat line, California ushering in the $20 minimum wage in April, as we have talked about several times.
Yep.
Small businesses are laying people off at record paces right now. The great reset is real. And it's interesting because some of the richest people in the world, why are they selling their stocks? Think about this.
Yeah, you're right.
Some of the richest people and even politicians, and that's why politicians, I'm sorry, it's bullshit.
Yep.
That they can go and invest because they've got insider trading like none other than. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother day. They're selling. Why are they all selling off? Yet the media is telling us, oh, everything's great. We're rising. Every time before the market hit its worst, we had a high. And the media told us everything was good. Look at the stats. Look at the figures. This is going on right now. 10 of the world's richest, all selling off right now. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. It's going to crash. It's happened 2008, 2021, 2024. These things are happening. And it's not Vic talking. I'm sorry. You don't have to be a financial analyst to read the tea leaves. It is pretty damn simple. Look at history and what has happened and what the media is doing right now and the messages that are being put out there. Gary says it's because the shit's going to hit the fan. That's exactly
right.
That's why the money.
Exactly right.
That's why the money is being sold off right now.
And that's what they're counting on.
Well, and
who's they again?
Deep state.
The deep state. And that's right. There is a deep state. And we don't even talk about it enough because no one knows exactly who the deep state is. But we know that Obama is the mouthpiece into the ear of Joe Biden for the deep state.
I don't know about that anymore. We're going to get into that.
You don't think so?
I say it a lot. And there's allegedly they had an argument.
Go, you hear all over, but I think that's a distraction too. I think they have
Biden
arguments
does,
all the time.
but the AP is reporting Biden doesn't remember it.
Of course he doesn't remember it. Of course he doesn't. Oh. There's Vic eating his ice cream. You're doing a perfect Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Yep.
For our listeners that couldn't see for our podcast, yeah, I was standing there eating the ice cream cone like he does. Buy your live chickens now for bartering, people. No, but allegedly they don't like each other, and we'll talk after.
I don't think they've ever liked each other. I don't think
what the truck was Biden, or what the truck was Obama doing, meeting with the British Prime Minister yesterday,
because he's running the country. That's why.
Literally, and of course he gets out in his slick suit. He's walking up for his media attention. I mean, hey, we don't want you, Obama, but bye. It's because his arrogance, once again, the slickest orator this country has ever seen. And also, in my humble opinion, the most arrogant person that has ever stepped foot into the White House.
The deep state's biggest puppet.
That's right. The biggest puppet ever. That's exactly right.
Seriously, who the hell does he think he is? Well, he thinks he's God.
He does think he's
Which
God.
is why
The state said so.
He does his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's going over there showing up. I mean, why isn't Biden there if it's such an important meeting?
Mm-hmm.
The president of the United States does that. And I guarantee Biden did not tell him to go.
He did not.
He doesn't even have a cabinet position.
No, he did not tell him to go. But you know what? We all know this.
I don't care if he's a
when
former
Donald
president.
Trump became the president, he never left. He rented and then bought a huge mansion right by the White House. He was undermining President Trump the entire time. And now he's running the country. And you know what? He shouldn't be proud of himself because he's destroying the country. He's destroying it. But that's his plan because he hates America. So for all of you in the back that don't understand that, Obama and his cronies with the deep state, they hate you and they hate our country. They hate it. They want to dismantle it. And they're doing a pretty damn good job right now. Pretty damn good job.
Matthew says, yeah, here it is. This, I'm sure this was appropriate here. This isn't confirmation that it came from the AP, but Matthew is just putting it out there from a good source. Guys, Obama was there reassuring the prime minister that he's running the show behind the scenes and the destruction of the U.S. as we know it is right on track. Biden's only the puppet, as we all know. He has plenty of Ben and Jerry's chocolate ice cream.
That's exactly right. And what Matthew just said is 100% right. I do believe that. And I don't even know what source Matthew got that from, but Matthew's right. That's exactly what he's doing. Everyone wants to ruin America. They want to bring it down to the level of Venezuela. That's where they want to bring it down. And they're doing it on purpose. We know they're doing it on purpose. And he is there reassuring, I've got this. I'm in the middle of destroying the country. Joe Biden doesn't even know what's going on.
From the chat line, shit's already hitting the fan, people. Foreclosures are rising.
Yes.
Auto repos are way up.
Way up.
Credit card debt is at an all-time high. Great reset, digital government money coming. This is why Bitcoin and Ethereum is exploding.
That's right.
And it is exploding right now.
But be careful.
Is.
Be careful.
It is exploding. I'm a believer in it, but you better do your research. Barry probably wants UKPM to be in his next Netflix project.
That's funny.
But that British
But
Prime
it's
Minister,
right.
he's a conservative.
Kinda.
He's the first Hindu to ever be the prime minister as well. It's interesting.
But that doesn't make me feel real good.
Why?
Well, I guess I don't care.
I don't know enough about him.
I guess I don't care if he's Hindu in a different country. You can knock yourself out. But I don't want that coming over as one of our leaders in America.
I'm sorry.
What are you doing?
I'm not laughing at you. I love you.
Yo, he
oh my
laughs
God, Glenn.
He laughs at me quite often.
Glenn had the best line ever. I hope you laugh. Cheers.
We're back in. Here we go. Oh, shoot.
Here we are.
That's all right. You can get it set up. Hey, this is a live show. It's very organic.
We love it.
Hey, Lizzie.
Yes, sir.
Refresh your computer, please.
Okay.
Robert says, hey, Rumble has a cancel this podcast. I don't know what you mean by that. Yeah, we're there.
Because some people don't realize that.
Yeah. Or maybe it was but that is us.
It's not letting me cancel.
Oh,
Or, I
hello
mean,
again.
or-
People are back into the chat line.
They
Oh,
are.
okay. We were just there for a second. I did see that. Action needed for select to open your browser and connect. So we'll see. And then you can
Okay.
keep us posted.
But our
as we
numbers
go.
are great. Like Rumble just popped up 20 more. People
This-
are waiting.
This
for
is so
us.
much fun.
It
Isn't it
is.
fun to have
Yeah.
this experience with us
listeners-
people?
Our listeners are great because our numbers are popping up and people are trying to figure it out. So this
Oh
is
my
great,
God,
you
this is
guys.
great.
This is good stuff.
Whoa,
that was nuts. Well, we're back.
Yeah, we're back. We're rocking
Yeah.
and rolling. We don't know what happened, but we're here. We're going to bring David Gregory in just a second. So we'll do that. Once again, this is cancelthisshow.com. Vic Faust, Lizzie Sparks, Projo in the house here Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. Central and all the time on our website, cancelthisshow.com. By the way, you can check out we got our merchandise. It helps support us as well. Really cool stuff. Check it out. Not only do we have the merchandise for Cancel This, there's a lot of Trump stuff. It can be for you. It can also be for your favorite liberal. Send them a nice gift. Keep the communication going back and forth. Also, if you have ideas for sponsors, advertisers, let us know. Vic at cancelthisshow.com, Lizzie at cancelthisshow.com as well. We had an awesome first hour when it came to everything that's happening with the Supreme Court right now. Then, of course, we broke it into what Google is doing right now. Google would definitely try to censor or cancel David Gregory. There's no doubt about that. If and when David is running for national office, they will be doing everything they can to try to take David Gregory down. That's for sure, because of who he is. And by the way, the whole internet dropped all shows, but we are back up. So we just want to make sure that our listeners understood what was going on. And we came back up on all the platforms, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, X. We are there, and we appreciate you guys jumping in. Once again, it's your situation. You guys make the show what it is. We educate and entertain each other, and we're grateful for it. By the way, as is the case with most of our guests, if you have questions, feel free to jump those in as we get ready to set Dave up, and we'll try to ask Dave those questions as well. We appreciate it when he has come in and come in the past as well. Super popular as well. Also, don't forget, if you're new to the show, on Fridays, we have our free-for-all paranormal conspiracy theory Fridays. All those have kind of become everyday shows now.
Yeah, for sure.
With everything.
We're living it.
With everything that's happening that we're trying to do. Yes, for those jumping back in, we appreciate you staying with us because you didn't want to miss our next guest. Still to come, by the way, too, we're going to break down the Trump situation for the first time ever, somebody being given a total. We can ask the attorney, Dave Gregory, as well. Donald's having problems posting a $454 million bond in a civil fraud case. We're going to break that down and talk about what's actually happening. Who is a female that's starting to rise the ranks as possible VP selection, and an update on Kayla Gain, the Hazelwood East 16-year-old. Her family spoke. So did the girl that she was in a fight with. They spoke as well. So we'll get into all of that too. Okay. And of course, we'll show you the video of Obama going to meet with the British Prime Minister for whatever reason. I have no freaking idea. Are we set to bring Dave in? All right. Let's bring in our good friend, David Gregory. And Dave, when you set up too, you got that camera in front of you. That's when people can see you. Oh, look, you even know how to stand.
Yeah, he does.
You show the cancel this sign. We see you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you're
Am I
polished.
doing it okay?
Yeah, he's
All
looking
right.
pretty great over there.
How you been, my friend? Good to have you back in.
So glad to be back.
How's the campaign? Want to remind everybody you're running for Missouri State Senate. Can you remind everybody where you are and what area you're running in?
Running for state senate out in pretty much all of West County. So everything west of 270 all the way through to the border of Wildwood. So
What kind of a grind is it to run for a position like this? You're a former state rep of Sunset Hills. Then you ran again for office, and now here you are running for state senate.
yeah, it's a grind. I mean, it's 200 something thousand people. You want to try to knock as many doors as you can. You got to raise about $1 million. So we're off to a great start. We got the lead. We've knocked the most doors. We have the most money, and we're up in the polls. That's a good sign.
Okay,
All good.
you say so. To run for a Missouri State Senate seat, you have to have at least $1 million. If you can explain what that money goes to and why you have to have that much money to make a dent.
Yeah, there's just so much it takes to advertise to the voters. So
It's all advertising.
It's all advertising. You've got to get to the doors. You got to have cards with you. You have teams, paid teams. You got TV advertising. You've got cancel this advertising that charges way too much money to be advertising. No, it's advertising. That's where all the money goes is consultants and advertising.
By the way, the owner of Winty said Ben Kahn. He said, please bring a big sign by. He wants to put that there. They're right in the heart of Chesterfield and the Chesterfield Valley, and a big supporter of our show as well. Great family there.
Of your establishment as well.
So be sure to get a sign over there.
Will do.
Ask for Ben or Marla. They'll take care of the sign, or if you need help, let us know. We'll get that over there. Okay. You wanted to run. Why'd you want to be in this position? Why state Senate? Because if people didn't know, you're an attorney as well. You're an accountant. I'll say it because you won't. Your name is super popular when it comes to the Republican Party in the state of Missouri, and which is great. And if people want to know, I know a lot of people like to throw that name Rhino around, and you're not one of those.
Not even. Yeah, no, just a lot of unfinished business. I was in the House of Representatives, and there's just a lot I'm still pretty upset about. I'm just tired of a lot of the do nothings. We see too many do nothing politicians. They do what's best for them. We know this. We've heard this over and over again, but it's real. There's a lot of good ones, and there are a lot more bad ones. And so I want to jump in. I just had my first daughter, my first kid all together. It's a girl. 8 weeks ago. That really changes your world. For anyone with kids, you betcha, your entire perspective changes. And now I'm ready. I'm more aggressive and more ready to fight than ever before. So I'm ready to drive some change in Missouri, which we know we need.
You think you can do that? I always ask politicians and talk to us because we already know it's so difficult in politics these days. I mean, you hear the word politician, and I know you well enough where I can say this. A lot of times people hear the word politician and they think negative. And it's because of the infighting, especially in the state of Missouri, where it seems like the Senate couldn't get anything done, yet you're running to that situation where it seems as if it's a big, bad red state where nothing gets done.
Yes. And when I hear politician, I think it's negative. So that's okay. I totally understand. And that's what I'm doing here. That's why I want to bring that change. And yeah, you can change. I mean, well, when I started out as a state rep, I went down there thinking I'm going to change the world, and you learn real fast you can't do that, right? You learn pretty quickly that you're not going to be able to single-handedly change the world, but you can clean up your corner, and that's what I plan on doing, especially in the Senate. A lot more power per the rules and the laws. Senators can do a lot more to drive change. They can do a lot more to kill bad change, right? Bad proposed change. So I'm really excited about the Senate. When I'm there, I'm going to be a champion. I'm going to be a warrior for us.
I just feel like you have a lot to offer. You're an attorney, you're an auditor, you've been a state rep already. You kind of get the layout of what it is there. You know what you can and can't do. Are you somebody that feels like you have to give a little sometimes to get a little? Because we already know in politics, isn't it about kind of reaching across the aisle, or is it? Or has politics changed so much, Dave, where no, you have to stand your ground?
Yeah, I think you mostly got to stand your ground, but it's the way you do it, right? We've always heard that saying, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Mhm.
That goes a long way. I do believe in respect. I think that the respect factor is gone. We can be tough. We can be aggressive. We can stand our ground. We can not negotiate on the non-negotiables, which is a must. But you can do all those things in a respectful manner. You can be willing to listen. You can be willing to be wrong, but nonetheless stand your ground on what you promised you'd stand your ground on, and fight hard. So that's where I stand. I think that we need to come together from a respect standpoint, start respecting one another, and at the same time taking the positions that we want to take for our folks.
Well, I saw Lizzie's son-in-law do that pretty well last year when he was challenged, and he handled a situation with respect when another African-American accused him of, basically being white, even though he's not white, he's biracial. wanting to know his ethnicity. I think that's the kind of thing that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you said it before too. And we still talk about you, Dave, on the show. We do.
Thank you.
Because one of the quotes that you had last time were like, people, it's all right to ruffle some feathers.
Absolutely.
Right. Of course, we got to ruffle feathers.
Gotta ruffle feathers.
Uh-huh.
So we do that as well. One thing that is starting to get a lot of attention, or at least I feel, and I'm sure you can let us know about that, is legislation that you want to pass. Because this show and what we have done, and our listeners, not only in the state of Missouri, but around the country, listeners and viewers are pissed off, and people are trying to understand what the hell is happening at our border. And the show me state is, it's not Texas, it's not a border state, but every state, as we've heard, has now become a border state. What is it that you're trying to do? What do you think you can accomplish when it comes to illegals running around the state of Missouri? Because we had an illegal just a few weeks ago in an accident kill a young kid. What was the 12-year-old's name?
Travis Wolf.
Travis Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had another illegal stab a guy, what you said, last night?
Yeah, last night
in
O'Fallon, Missouri. Well, actually on Saturday in O'Fallon, Missouri. And I've been screaming to the rooftops that O'Fallon is inundated. And people don't believe me. They're like, but that's Middle America. That's O'Fallon. That's St. Charles County.
I know.
No, St. Charles County is overrun with, in North O'Fallon and part of Wentzville, with illegals. And on Saturday, somebody went to the laundromat and his neighbor was an illegal, took a pocket knife out and stabbed him and his brother.
Yep.
So, I mean, that is so near and dear to most patriots' heart, is we've got to get that border closed, and we've got to take the illegals here and deport them, not just put them in our jails taking up space.
That's right. That's exactly right. And that's the unfortunate part. Most folks, even good people, they don't quite see it until it's in their backyard, until it affects their pocketbook, until it truly affects them. They don't quite see it, but this is real and it's going to affect you. And it's going to affect you more and more unless we get out in front of it. I've actually just been given evidence. It's not conclusive yet that the city of St. Louis mayor is sending vans to Chicago to help with their overload of.
No. Oh my God.
To St. Louis.
When did you hear? How recent?
I heard it was coming
last night. Yeah.
You heard it last night.
Now, again, there's not conclusive.
Yeah, this is just something that you heard.
Abundantly clear. I heard that it's from a very reliable source. It's happening already.
Yeah.
But see, these are the things that we've got to get out in front of. And that's what I'm trying to do. I can tell you, we know Lake and Riley. We know what happened. College girl goes out for a run, gets brutally murdered, right? We just saw in Florida, 4 days ago, another woman on her morning walk got kidnapped by 3 illegals and raped.
Where did that happen?
Happening. I was in Florida.
Oh my God.
This is happening, and it's not just the border states, right? So, my wife goes for walks with my 8-week-old daughter, and I can't even begin to imagine. So I'm done. I've had enough. And I've come up with a plan to get super aggressive and force the hand of the federal government, force them to deport these people. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to make it an A felony to trespass in the state of Missouri. It is trespassing. If you are illegal, you're going away and you're going to be detained for life until the federal government deports you or until you're vetted properly by our parole board and released. You're determined not to be a threat to Missourians. You're not going to just get to come here and take advantage of our resources and do these things and potentially be a danger to our women and children. It's not going to happen.
From the chat line, yes, agreed with you, Dave. Governor Parsons, although you didn't say this, they said they didn't feel governor was doing enough about it. But yes, St. Louis City did announce it about traveling to Chicago. That has come out now. And it frustrates me to hear that.
So it's here. They're here.
So for you to get this legislation passed, you would have to be, obviously, you'd have to win that position for the Missouri State Senate. Do you feel as if you would have good support for that? Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if you would need bipartisan support to get that passed, but it's not being mean. It's not being bad for the reasons you just said.
Not at all. And that's the thing is this isn't just you go to prison for the rest of your life for being illegal. This is you're detained for life until you're either deported or we're properly vetted. We're not going to let you roam. You're not going to take advantage of our resources. That is not how it works. We are not going to let you fly in the face of all the other immigrants that came here legally and did it right. That's not going to happen. Not in the state of Missouri. Get the message and get it clear. Stay away from the state of Missouri.
Gregory for Missouri.com, Gregory for Missouri.com, talking with David Gregory, former state rep, attorney, the super accountant as well, running for this position, which covers basically all of Chesterfield. And if anybody has any questions about his campaign, you can go to Gregory for Missouri.com. Once again, Gregory for Missouri.com. When you look at the state and things that are happening, did you laugh? Did you get sick when you see the Senate not being able to get along? And, and we've had people, from the Scott Phones of the world try to break down the situation between relationship problems between Bill Eigel and Caleb Rowden in Columbia. It became national news again for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, though? The Senate's always been dysfunctional in the last 8 years.
Has it really?
It's always dysfunctional.
You mean the state of Missouri's?
In the state of Missouri.
Why?
And I can tell you every year it gets worse. Every single year it's the worst we've ever seen. So I've seen that in my 8 years. It's always been worse every single year. And the Senate is designed that each senator is much more powerful. And you also look at history of politics whenever one party is in supreme extreme power, right? When they have that overabundance of support, then you start to have the infighting. So that's very, very common.
Mm-hmm. And the infighting is something that the Democrats don't do is so outwardly. They do argue with each other, but then at the end, there's a consensus on what to do. The Republicans, there seems to be three different groups of Republicans. The real far right, who say all the right things, but then they don't do anything, and they do kind of obstruct. And then you've got the strong, good legislative conservatives. And then you've got the ones that maybe aren't exactly a Democrat, but they are kind of a rhino. And it seems like they can't all agree. What is something that you could do that could maybe pull that group together?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it comes down to one word: respect.
Yeah.
When we start disrespecting one another, it's going to go nowhere. People dig in stronger,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not willing to open up and talk. So, I mean, again, I think all of these things, all these are tools in the toolbox that are good for Missouri legislation. I love being conservative. I love seeing those principles driven home with no negotiating, but I think we can do it more respectfully.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things, Dave. I mean, I've always wondered, it's a thankless job. And I knew you when you were a state rep, and you have continued to try to do the right thing. It is, there is something about saying things the right way,
Mm-hmm.
as you said, and trying to get something done. But do you feel as if the right and the left have really solidified themselves further away from each other in the state of Missouri?
Oh, yeah.
Clearly, it's that way from a national standpoint. I was just wondering how you felt and what you saw in the state of Missouri.
Yeah, same thing. It's becoming very polarizing. There's no doubt it's becoming very polarizing. But you'd be surprised at how many reasonable people there are on both sides. They're a little quieter. You don't see them shouting at the mountaintops and going
Right.
on social media to talk about how reasonable they are, because it's not as popular. But do have faith. There are a lot of really good politicians. While there's plenty of bad ones, there's some good ones, and there's some reasonable ones that are willing to work across the aisle.
That's good to hear.
You
I
like-
like hearing that.
No, I mean, it gives us hope, Dave. It does. I mean, I know you've had success, and that's why I love you coming in and talking to us about what it would be in the state of Missouri. Glenn says he got letters from you. He's like, he'll definitely be voting for you. So if
Thank
you
you, Glenn.
is your
Thanks.
district labeled by a number? Is that people can look
Yeah,
up?
it's Senate 15, and like I said, it's like all West County. So if you're west of 270, we're talking Chesterfield, Baldwin, Ellisville, Wildwood, Town and Country, all kinds of them, unincorporated St. Louis County. So pretty much all of West County. If you consider yourself a West Countyan, I'm probably going to be your state senator.
So give people an
Love
update
it.
on how they can help you and the dates and what's coming up when it comes to this whole election.
Yeah, my big election for the primaries to decide that I'm the Republican candidate is August 6th. So please come out, vote for me then. And then, of course, in November is the general election, same as the presidential. Please come out and make sure the Republicans take this Senate seat. I can tell you, this is I think it's the only now state Senate seat in St. Louis County that is Republican. I think the rest of the Senate seats are
Wow.
Democrat. I'm pretty sure.
And all of St. Louis County?
All of St.
Can
Louis
you
County,
repeat?
and of course,
I've been telling everybody
I'm the only
lives in St.
Republican. We got to keep me.
Oh my gosh.
Andrew Koenig's the current state senator. He's the only
Wow.
Republican current.
And Koenig is
St.
stepping
Louis
down,
County.
retiring, right? Is that?
Yeah, well, he's termed out. That's
Yeah,
right.
he's termed out.
So Andrew Koenig's running for state treasurer now, which is the entire state. And so I'm running for that open seat.
Every St. Louis County state senator is a Democrat.
Well, there's only like 3.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but that's
But
Yeah, that's
still,
right.
I mean, only a third is Republican in
Right.
such a red state.
Right.
So it's very important someone like you gets elected, because I like everything that you said. You're definitely a conservative that loves the Constitution, is going to get something done.
100%.
But the way to do it is exactly what you said, is respect. It's not going on social media and blasting the opponent. It's not on, once you're in there fighting and trying to obstruct, it's to get something done, to
Yeah.
actually legislate. And you're an attorney and you know how to do
Yeah.
that. So I love that.
Tanya says, I know a lot of people in that area. Dave, I'll be finding your sites and posting for
Tanya,
you.
Thank you.
Robert
David.
says, I don't live in Missouri, but I'm rooting for you. We need hope like you talk about. Somebody getting a shout out for Bill Eigel for Missouri Republican governor. And Matthew, I wanted to get this in. He's like, Missouri's dysfunctional in his opinion because of rhinos. Think about it. You lived in Kirksville or Poplar Bluff or Joplin. Would you feel comfortable with a Democrat behind your name? So liberals and centrist run as Republicans, but are so soft on the issues that matter to true conservatives. It's a farce.
That's exactly
Very
right.
well
Those things
said.
happen.
Oh, you see that too. You feel that?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Hey.
There's some that are so dead in the middle. Who knows what they'll run as a Democrat or Republican? They'll run whatever helps them win.
Pam says she's passing it on to all of her friends in Chesterfield as well.
Thank you, Pam.
That's why you bring it up. I mean, you can show who you are and what you are. You're not new at this. You're not an insider. You do care. You could be doing a whole lot of other things. You're a successful personal injury attorney with a team of great lawyers, and you're a dad. I know, a new dad.
Yeah. But I could just finish with this, Vic, if I can. I have a lot of hope for Missouri. This is good. This election is going to bring a fresh perspective, fresh state senators, fresh state reps, a fresh governor. This is good. What is about to happen is good. It's all going to be Republican. We're going to win, big red wave, and it's going to be a fresh perspective. And I think you're going to see a lot more getting done. I really do have a lot of hope. I'm predicting it. And I will come on the show and tell you I was right when we win.
I'd love to see it.
Right.
Hey,
Yes, I hope you are right. And I think you are right too. The fresh faces that are coming up in the different positions, whether it's Senate or Congress or whatever, they have their heart in the right place. I love it.
That's right.
We showed your beautiful wife before too, but I want to show your beautiful daughter with you. I love this picture that you had out there.
Love it.
Tell us who this is, her name, and how everything's going.
This is Grace August Gregory. She was born in January. So she's my first. Couldn't be more excited to be a dad. Wow.
That's the best.
And everyone says it, you're like, yeah, I got it. Everybody said it. No, you don't really get it until it happens.
That's right.
You really don't get it.
What is her middle name?
August. That is my wife's family is German, very German heritage. That's an important name to us.
I love it. Is she sleeping, or are you
right
able
there?
to...
She's
I mean in general. Yeah.
Oh no. In general, she's sleeping like 6-7 hours a night already. It's incredible.
But
my wife works with her every day, every single day. Focuses on her sleep cycles and her tummy time, and works with her constantly. Reads to her already. So that's why I give it all to my wife. I'd love to take the credit, but I can't.
I'm a lot older. I remember those days. The reading to your kids is big. It is. I'm telling you, it is. So obviously she's already gotten lots of advice and read all the manuals to know exactly what to do.
Love it.
Yeah. Sometimes she imputes that or assumes that I have read all those manuals. I'm like, well, you're going to have to teach me those manuals a little bit. I haven't read them all.
Sometimes you got to stop those manuals. I read all the manuals. And then when I would get done, I'd be so upset. My husband is like, you're a good mom. Just do your mom thing and stop reading the manuals.
How are you doing as a dad? In regards to,
if you ask me, the best. I mean, come on. Yeah, no, doing good. I try to take as many night shifts as I can if I don't have anything big, and spend a lot of time with her where I can. And it's just, and it is wonderful. It's the coolest experience in the world.
And you're going to make Grace proud. That's what's going to happen.
I am going to do that.
That's
going to do that. That's right. So we spend a lot of time together. We, she probably won't remember it, but that's okay. We spend as much time as we can together. I'll certainly remember it.
Yeah.
Buddy, it goes so fast too.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about how fast, the pregnancy went, and like, oh my gosh, here she is already. So that's why I always tell people is like, try to appreciate, because I was sitting in Columbia, Missouri this last weekend with my daughter looking and going, man, she's 21. And I'm sitting here in the same seat that I was in college at the University of
Missouri.
The same spot at Willie's/Fieldhouse. I'm sitting out there with my daughter. I'm looking at her and she's ordering a mimosa. And I'm just like, oh, it hit me again on Saturday morning when I was up for the Missouri football spring game. And I'm like, oh my God, the time goes by so fast. I'm old. And I remember sitting in that same seat, 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
28 years ago. Something.
It does, but
something
it's
like
surreal.
that.
And it's the same spot that you used to stand,
Yes.
25 years later. It's just bizarre. So soak it all up. Soak it all up. It's so great. I mean, it only gets better. I mean, I was so scared for my kids to be adults, and some of my kids are adults, and it's just great. But in the meantime, just soak up all of little Grace things.
Yes. Everybody says that, so it must be right.
Yeah. It's
That's
so
right.
true.
Hey, and before we had you leave, or before you were going off too, when it comes to these campaigns and you talk, is it more expensive now to run for an office? Because you said it takes about $1 million than it was just a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like it's gotten a lot more expensive since the last 4 or 5 years, probably. Since I first ran in 2016, it's certainly more expensive. A lot more
and can people, if they're supporting you, can they donate to your cause at
Yeah.
gregoryfrommissouri.com as well?
Please, at my website, you'll see the big donate button. Please do. And remember that your support doesn't just come monetarily. There's a lot you can do. You can call 2 or 3 neighbors and ask them if they'll put up a yard sign. Yard signs are just huge because they're reminders right before the election to who you should vote for, and it's telling your neighbors who you should vote for. So yard sign locations are just wonderful. And of course, volunteering. If you got kids that are willing to volunteer, standing at the polls, the local election in April, the election in August, just standing there holding a David Gregory sign would be so valuable. So please volunteer, put up a yard sign, donate, all kinds of ways you can help support a campaign.
Real quick too, did you see the story, hear about the story for what's happening at the Supreme Court yesterday with the Supreme Court? And you actually had a Justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, talking about how the First Amendment is hamstringing the government, that the government should be able to hamstring and tell platforms like Facebook, Rumble, whatever, YouTube, that they should delete this or delete that, and that people's free speech. As an attorney and as a politician, I figured that would piss the hell out of you, that they're actually debating this at the Supreme Court level.
Oh yeah. And see, the biggest fear as a litigator myself is how much power a Supreme Court has to legislate. I mean, it is, when we say that's unconstitutional, is it? How do you know? It may have been unconstitutional, but that could change tomorrow with the political winds and who appoints the right justices. That's why it was so huge that Donald Trump got to appoint all those Supreme Court justices.
Right.
It changed Roe v. Wade, right? Roe v. Wade, abortion used to be unconstitutional. It used to be constitutional, right? So you're going to see the constitutional positions changing forever. And that is scary.
My God, David Gregory, before we leave, we wanted to show another family pic of you guys because you look so good with your baby and your daughter here as we show you, your wife, your child. Joe, are you popping that up? Oh, he's okay. So we'll show this picture of you guys because I can only imagine you've probably taken 1 million pictures already, and you probably take pictures on a daily basis.
Yeah.
It's
that was Super Bowl. That was our first Super Bowl. She's a Chiefs fan. I don't know if
Of
you
course
guys know.
she is.
Big
Of course
Chiefs
she
fan.
is.
That's right.
Of course she is.
My wife made sure she got dressed up as a Chiefs fan, so she took home a winner.
That's
Dude,
awesome.
I absolutely love it. David, we appreciate you spending time with us today, my friend.
Thanks for bringing me on anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Gregory from Missouri.com. Once again, David Gregory running for state Senate, and it's basically everything West County right now. There is all Democrat state senators and the other 3 Senate.
So this
spots.
cannot go Democrat. So we have a lot of listeners from all over the place. But if you are in Missouri and you have an aunt, an uncle, a cousin, or whatever, tell them they need a sign.
Hey, can I ask you one other quick question before you go? Because you know money, you know politics, and you're an attorney on top of it. If anybody could talk to this subject, even though you haven't been, I didn't warn you about this.
Oh, that's okay.
Donald Trump can't get bond money. He has to post a $454 million bond in a civil fraud case.
That's crazy.
Did you see this story come out yesterday?
I didn't read it yet, but I can tell you from a legal standpoint, that's pretty crazy. So generally, if you get hit for a verdict, right, and you want to appeal it, the court makes you post a bond that says, hey, I'm good for it if I lose my appeal, right? You're not allowed to just keep waiting and then go spend your money and then blow it. So the bond is a good thing, generally speaking. First off, I've never seen a $400-something million verdict.
Well, yeah, it was
So
total bullshit. The whole thing
total
was.
BS. But secondly, generally, you'll have bond like insurance companies, but you can pay to post your bond, right? It's like an insurance policy. Who's going to give them a $500 million insurance?
Well, they said they've reached out to everybody, and they can't find anything because they want actual money. They don't want buildings necessarily put there. And then Letitia, the New York Attorney General, she's talking about going after Trump Tower now and even Mar-a-Lago.
Of course she is.
He has 6 days to come up with this money. What do you do if you're on Trump's team?
I don't know. I would probably, I don't know. God, I haven't even thought about it.
Or is this one of those stories?
They won't let him collateralize property, huh?
No, that's
cash.
They want cash bond.
And can they just do that? I guess they can.
Well, he's appealing it right now. And I'm like, I need to talk to an attorney.
I've never seen property collateralized in an appeal situation. A bond has always been cash or some sort of insurance.
Yeah, but this is Donald Trump and every possible
and
way.
it's $400-something million. I mean, I don't.
Wow.
I don't know.
Pam says all of America should contribute.
I say he just pledges an IOU on a piece of paper and tell him to take a hike. That's what
Yeah,
think
I
he
hope
does.
that's what he's
Yeah.
able to
Really?
do.
Here's an IOU on a piece of paper.
Robert
Yeah.
says insurance companies are not big enough to do that. They would need some form of an insurance treaty.
Yeah, I guess among the different insurance companies, that makes sense. You're speaking over my head on that. I don't know what that
They
would look
couldn't
like.
jail him, right? They would just go start taking his property.
No. The point of a bond is to stay the collection. So if somebody gets a verdict and you don't want them to start collecting on the verdict, you can post a bond and appeal. So he doesn't have to come up with it for the appeal. The appeal will continue and he could still win the appeal. But in the meantime, they can start collecting on their verdict. And that's what he's trying to stop them from doing, is collecting on the verdict.
The verdict. Got it.
I'm just wondering, there's got to be interest, isn't there?
And I think that's in Missouri. So I'm speaking Missouri terms, to be clear. I don't know New York or anything else.
I would have to guess there has got to be some sort of interest on that as well.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what? I just looked it up. He's filed papers in an appeals court case, and it accrues $112,000 a day interest.
Wow.
What is 112?
On Monday, he filed papers in an appeals court case seeking to get out of having to post that bond as he fights his massive judgment from February. It's accruing at $112,000 interest daily.
Well, he's going to win the appeal. Like, that is so outlandish. That was so outlandish of a verdict that they're going to knock it down. They're going to at a minimum, they're going to reduce it.
Who is they?
The appeals court.
Okay.
I believe it. I have no law supporting that, but in Missouri, that is certainly a motion you can file with the trial court if you get too big of a verdict against you. And then of course you can appeal. So we have certain caps. You can only go so far with a certain verdict based on the damages claimed. So my guess is that's going to be significant.
I mean, they're trying to do anything they can, even if it's absurd and ridiculous, to try to put him in jail.
I think that's the point here. I think the judge knows the $400 million is not going to stand. He doesn't care.
He doesn't
We're
care.
just going to do it and make his life hell until then.
That's right.
That's exactly right.
They're
That's what I
trying to do
can't stand.
anything to make it
But that's
stick.
why he's here. That's why he's got so much support, and that's why he's going to win in November. Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Well, I know that makes a lot of people that are listening to you say that comfortable. They like to hear that. That's for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
It is happening. I feel the same way.
Well, we needed somebody who breaks it down, who has education on that. By the way, are we allowed to promote your law firm and remind people what you do? And the reason I say it is because I've used you. I've used you in the past, and I was hit by somebody in a car accident, and I was told you need to find Dave Gregory. And sure enough, I went to Dave Gregory, and you took care of me in a big way, more so than I could have ever imagined at that point in time. That's for sure. So please promote yourself and your team.
Absolutely. Thank you. No, I founded the Injury Council, all personal injury law. We're aggressive litigators, as Vic has said. We're honest. We are ethical, but super aggressive at the same time. So we walk a good balance of that. And of course, we get settlements, judgments far bigger than most of my competitors. So please, if you're ever in need of a personal injury services, I hope not. I hope you never do. But if you do, please give us a call.
By the way, I think that could be your slogan that you gave us from a political standpoint. Could be your law. Where it's like, it's all right to ruffle some feathers.
It's all right. Oh, we'll ruffle some feathers.
And to be
Don't worry
honest
about that.
and aggressive.
You can be both. You can
be
both.
honest and aggressive. I like it.
Absolutely.
It is all right. Hey, my friend, you're more than welcome to hang with us if you want to for the next 15, 20 minutes, or you can just pop out. It's totally up to you. I don't know what your schedule is. I know you have something coming up at 11, but
yes,
it's totally up to you.
I'll hang for 5 more minutes. How about that?
Okay. Then I just wanted to move on. Once again, David Gregory for Missouri.com with us today. We were talking about the Trump situation, which also happened there. I also have another case that came up. We now have a federal judge, Sharon Johnson Coleman, and we have her picture. She has now literally put this out, Dave, that illegals have a right to bear arms. Once again, that's what I said. Illegals have a right to bear arms. Her name, this is her, federal judge, Sharon Johnson Coleman. She's in a recent ruling. Judge Coleman declared that the federal law barring illegal immigrants from possessing guns violated the Second Amendment. You're a law guy. I don't think you can make this crap up. So basically, you want to strip citizens of their Second Amendment rights, but also at the same time say that illegals have a right to bear arms.
Of course.
This is a Democrat liberal judge.
Oh my
No.
gosh. Shocker.
Have you seen anything like this before? I mean,
Oh,
you hear
this is a stunt. This is a stunt. She knows what she's doing. That's going nowhere. Again, appeals court gone.
so it's that
This
simple.
is just
It's
to
all
get
media
headlines.
headlines.
That's right. That's right. But it's working. We're talking about it. It's ruffling our feathers.
Okay, and something else. Do you care who Trump picks as his VP running mate?
Well, sure, I care. I mean, I just don't know. I don't know who I'd pick if I'm him.
Tulsi Gabbard has jumped into the fray now all of a sudden. Tulsi Gabbard, allegedly, her name has been linked as somebody that Trump is actually considering now. Now, I don't get all up in arms about who the VP pick is, especially with a Donald Trump. I would be more so concerned if Biden was the president, who his VP would be, not necessarily Donald Trump's. But at the same point in time, I find it interesting that Tulsi Gabbard's name has now been released as somebody he's considering.
And see, I agree with Todd. He says this VP will be the most important in our history because Donald Trump only has 4 years and he's going to do a great job, but he's not going to finish the job. So the VP has to be someone that's going to finish the job that Donald Trump is continuing.
Agreed.
Mhm.
That is so well said. That is so well said.
I think it's very, very important who his VP is. And we can't have another Mike Pence.
Do you think he chooses a VP based more on making sure he gets elected, or chooses a VP making sure that it is a good person to hand off the baton to?
I think last time he picked Mike Pence to get elected because he didn't have the evangelical vote at early on. So I don't even think he liked Mike Pence, and I think it was to get elected. This time, I think he knows he's going to get elected. I think he absolutely knows, and the only way they don't is if they cheat again. So he needs to pick someone that's going to have the MAGA agenda.
I agree, Dave. I'm on the ladder, and I
On the
feel.
ladder.
Don't you feel the same way though?
Yeah, probably. I just want to make sure he wins. My God, I want to make sure he's in there for 4 more years, and then perhaps you find a way to, if he can, whatever it takes to win, I want him to win. And then after that, I guess I would try to solve the problem of who we hand the baton to. But
Jeannie says
Good
he's
point.
smarter this time. He won't make any of those mistakes. Also, we need a VP closer. No more Judas Pence.
I agree. I agree with
I
that.
love that. That is awesome.
All right, well,
That's
I'm not-
perfect.
yeah, that's right.
Pam says it's all right. We just need Trump to have 12 years. He needs 12 years to fix all the crap that's out
Yeah,
there
he
right
does.
now.
Yeah, he
That's
does.
right.
That's why the VP is so important.
Also from the chat line, I think Trump's going to pick a hot woman.
Well, he does tend to go for a.
Oh my
attractive
God, that
women
is
in other
awesome.
areas.
Mhm.
Chris reminds us, guys, Tulsi's a centrist that has changed her views on a few things. Yeah, she has. And of course, the original Vivek info gets pushed out there. What do you think about Vivek?
Ramaswamy, I found so impressive. I found him impressive in the debates. I think he's sharp. I think he's methodical. He's thinking 10 steps ahead. I mean, I've had the pleasure of meeting with extremely successful people, a couple billionaires, and boy, do they think different. They think dynamically. They think multidimensionally, and that's what I saw in Ramaswamy. I found him really impressive.
And that's good because at first I didn't know what I thought because the reports
Me
that were
too.
coming out, were not
Exactly.
so good that, he was all involved with the Democrats and this and that. But now I agree with every word you just said about him.
No, I agree. Yeah, I want to know who your billionaire friends are. That's interesting. Bigot says the left is going to cheat. Count on it. Lord help us. Lord help our country.
Mhm.
And to see what we can do there. Dave, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks
Get
so much
out
for
here.
having me.
Keep us posted on everything that's going on. Once again, Gregory from Missouri.com, and be sure to get your sign over to Winties. And people are obviously getting out there. Appreciate your information. Dave is off and running. I think he's a really, really interesting candidate.
Very much so.
And just, to be fair, Mark Carter, a guy on St. Louis County Council, is running
Mhm.
for that position too. I know Mark, and I like him as well.
I do too.
But I also think there's a reason right now why Dave is winning in the early polling.
I agree with that. I think that he is a great choice, and I like Mark Harder too. I think he's a really great guy. I think he's on the St. Louis County Council, and I think he's done a really great job holding the line. But I think it's now time to pass the baton to somebody like David, who is a strong, as he said, he ruffles feathers. He's aggressive, but yet he's truthful. I think it's his time. I really do.
We talked about Obama already. We don't need to show that video, but I did want to get into this really quick. I saw an update. Somebody just said And we are a live podcast, so we're a live show. We're different. It's a live cast. We talk about that. You can watch us throughout the day whenever. A lot of our material is evergreen. You can check that out on canceltheshow.com. But we also give live updates. Somebody just put in the chat line probably 10 minutes ago that there was a sighting of Riley Strain in Nashville. Do you mean
Oh, wow.
do you mean over the weekend in video or now? Because all kinds of videos. I mean, you've got YouTubers there.
Mhm.
I want to believe it's for the best intentions, but making a name for themselves, trying to find them, literally
Correct.
going out on the streets, having conversations with homeless. Since we heard that investigations had turned to homeless,
Mhm.
it's very interesting. So if that's
Yeah.
true, that would be crazy. I don't know if I read that correctly or not, but wow.
And there is, Vic, you're right. There's so many video and there's so many YouTubers saying things. There's homeless people now coming out and saying that they truly believe that somebody that was homeless, possibly even illegal, has them because they were offended because he was screaming, "Let's go, Brandon," over and over and over. I don't know if any of that is true. So, and as far as a sighting, I don't think there's been one. Now, of course, we talked yesterday about the shirt that had vomit on it, and
Yeah.
the homeless person had on, and the card was left there, which some people believe that means he ends up in the river, or other people think it means the homeless people took his money, dropped the card, used it, took his shirt. The scary part is nobody knows, and nobody knows
Yeah.
where he's at.
Yeah, I saw the video yesterday. He said hi to a cop who's investigating
did.
a robbery as he just walked by, but and he sounded normal.
Fine. He wasn't walking wonky either.
He didn't sound drunk, and he did not sound
Mhm.
like he had been roofied. That is a fact.
Well,
I
it makes you
agree.
wonder whoever was doing the robbery in that area. Maybe they're the ones that had something to do with it.
Well, that's right, because the police officer was there for
Right.
a burglary. He was there and he said hi to him and he walked by. And some people are saying the police officer should have done something, but
No,
there was nothing he
no,
would have
nothing
done. He
at
was
all.
No,
walking normal.
There
He
was
just
no
said
indication that he was in any distress.
None at
whatsoever.
all.
The other thing that's interesting about that is now it really has become a national story. We've been talking about it since Monday. I saw the
Mhm.
report, obviously, as I had talked about, because my daughter was with his group as part of their formal from the University of Missouri. Man, I don't know what's happening with that, but it is so bizarre. So we'll continue to follow that. The attorneys for the case with the girls from Hazelwood East who fought, by the way, Kaylee Gain, who we showed you the video, in the fight, the person she was fighting with slammed her to the ground 3 times. It was
Mhm.
horrible video. Anyway, she has not woken up since then.
No.
So they
No.
don't know, doctors don't know the extent of her damages right now.
They
However, this is another story that involves St. Louis or Missouri. Man, there's just so much news here all the time. Unfortunately, most of it's not great. Their attorneys for Kaylee Gaines' family said they don't want anybody to go after or to yell at the girl who Kaylee was fighting with, any parents or kids that were involved,
Mhm.
or people who stood by.
Correct.
They're like, we don't want anybody to say anything, to go after them in any sort of situation. No retribution.
Wow.
It's very interesting what's happening.
Very interesting.
They're just sitting by hoping that their daughter wakes up
Mhm.
at this point in time. And then when she does, by the grace of God, has cognitive functioning ability,
Correct.
because she has been out for a long
A
time.
long time. And it's really sad what the parents are saying. They don't want retribution. And, I mean, they're sitting there in the hospital thinking, I mean, at any point, I've heard too that they could pull the plug on her, so to speak. And
I hadn't even thought about that.
yeah, I
I'd
mean, that's
even-
really what it is. She's at the state now that they could do that. And it's just so tragic. It's just, and the longer that they leave her alive, the less some people care and there might be less retribution. It's all just tragic. It really is. I feel so bad for her parents and feel bad for her too. We can say she shouldn't have gone to the fight, but she also shouldn't have had her head banged on the ground 3 times in such an aggressive manner. Well, it was more than aggressive. It was mean.
Well, you're not supposed to be nice in a fight. And
I agree.
It's you don't fight to be nice. And I know we can do, and we've debated it
I know.
over and over and over again. I just hate the fact where she is, where she's sitting there. And so the attorney spoke and they got their information out yesterday in regards to, how everybody feels about it, what's going on. It isn't that, because they both lawyered up. Brian Kamermer. I've said his name, and it's Kaemmear. Kamer with McCarthy, Leonard, and Kamer is their attorney. So they said she has a fractured skull and brain bleeding and swelling. So she hasn't gained consciousness in the week since the fight. So doctors aren't going to be able to determine what's going to happen.
Correct.
Assault charges were filed on the girl she was fighting with. So that's also going on. That girl's 15 years old. Kaylee's GoFundMe page, by the way, which was organized by a friend towards all these medical bills, it's raised almost $400,000.
Wow.
I know, in just over a week, $400,000. They also said they didn't want the retaliation, as we talked about. Anyone directly or indirectly involved in the fight. They're just focused on her waking up at some point in time. The suspect's attorney gave a statement as well, stating, in light of the information that has been presented through the news media and social media, I believe it is necessary to introduce additional information to the narrative that currently exists out in the public. I find this very interesting, what the attorney goes on to say. My client is a 15-year-old child who is attending Hazelwood East School District. She was on the honor roll, played in the orchestra, and also played on the school's volleyball team.
Ugh.
I believe all of the facts and circumstances of this incident are not appropriate to discuss at this time when another child is in such critical condition. Those facts and circumstances, however, will have their day in court. And I join the call to denounce teen violence and bullying. And most importantly, I join my client and her family in extending our prayers for this family and their child.
That's exactly what needs to be done. Is that at this point is to pray, pray, pray. And the violence that's going on in our country today is like nothing we've ever seen. It's a shame.
I also heard somebody say, Vic, you guys haven't talked about a lot of it, but where is Hazelwood East involvement in all of this situation? Where does responsibility go with them and what they have done in this whole situation?
Well,
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. It wasn't on school ground. Vic, you did read their response.
Yeah.
And we thought it was lame. So I think they're taking I'm going to put my head in the sand and not say anything about the person who fought or the victim because they don't want to be implicated. I am sure their attorney told them to say nothing after that very vague statement because they may be involved in some way by not handling the bullying or the fighting or whatever happened in school, but I'm not sure they're responsible if it happened on off school's grounds.
And here's the other reason too. When it comes to the facts, and this may have been brewing in school as well for some time, because we both know that both parties showed up to fight.
They sure did.
Kaylee showed up to fight, and so did the 15-year-old girl who has assault charges right now. They both walked at each other with their hands up to fight.
They did.
So usually those things don't happen just all of a sudden.
Right.
And with so many people around and allegedly parents.
Yeah. And allegedly the moms were in a fight. That's what I've heard over and over too. And so that's tragic. And the fighting, I'm sure that they weren't fisticuffing or anything. They were probably jarring back and forth. And that's the thing that so many parents, we can't see beyond our own child. And I'm not saying that we should, but the problem is when our own child has something wronged, we see red and we don't see the bigger picture and we don't teach the kids how to appropriately respond. And if anything has taught anyone is I've told my kids after this, we've talked about it, we've watched the videos, and I'm like, it is not worth it to you to ever go show up at a fight in high school. It's not worth it today. Years ago, when people used to fight fair, maybe so. But today, today people pull guns, they pull knives, they obviously now whack people's heads against the concrete.
Yeah, I have to interrupt you. I
away.
love you. That was a fair fight.
I don't.
That was a fair fight.
I know,
they both agree. They both went in with their hands.
You're right. You're right.
Here's the thing. This is something that self-defense training would have avoided, because if you're in a fisticuff fight, you don't try to give head injuries. You know what I mean?
Correct. I disagree with
You
Vic
just
on
try
that.
to disable and
I do.
In the moment, you're not thinking about anything. You're
right.
trying.
That's
You're
why I
trying to
say
eliminate the threat.
that's why I say self-defense classes will help you keep your cool under pressure like that.
Donna, it would be a
Absolutely.
hate crime if the races were
Correct. It would be a
100%.
hate crime. That is true. And that's something that people aren't saying, Vic. It was a black girl and a white girl that were fighting. And Vic is right. They came to the fight. We saw all sorts of videos and both the girls came. Kaylee actually is the one that took the first step. But
with her hands up.
She did with her hands up. So the rumors that we had heard that she was coming to, bury the hatchet may be true, but at some point we don't see prior to that video, they both came there to fight. But I mean, I guess I've never been mad enough to not be able to stop my anger to bash somebody's head against the ground, though.
But the 3 times, it was like in a matter of seconds.
That is true. It was less
and in
than
a fight. You've never been in a street fight, as you said.
No, I've not.
Unfortunately,
ever been in a street
I was in
fight.
several.
I've never been in one.
You're not thinking. It's just like quick. And then it's over.
But then, do you leave them sitting there convulsing?
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, that is
See,
cold.
but hold on a second.
But the
In
adrenaline
video,
is like when you're in a
I
fight.
guess.
In the video, I did see the girl who smashed her head on the ground walk away and start dealing with somebody else. But then she came back and kind of hovered around her head
for a second
to keep people away, because, or either that or.
You mean she showed compassion?
I didn't see compassion. I didn't see compassion.
We watched it so many times that day. I watched that girl come back to the other girl and then kind of like veer people away, from her head. But that was like at the very end of the video.
And that's tragic. The girl that did it, if I would agree with Vic, which I don't about that, but then again, I don't know if that's fair. I've never been in a street fight. I do have empathy even for the girl that did it. Most people chew me up when I say that. Somebody wronged her to act like an animal. She probably,
yes.
I mean, and I'm not saying that if that was my daughter laying there now with a brain bleed, I would be saying the same. I can be objective and look back. But that girl that did that, I would love to see her parents. Or there's probably not a dad in the home. That I would guess that, because girls that rage like that don't have a good daddy figure. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And she probably has a piece of shit mom. I'm just going to say that too, because people don't act like animals if it's okay. Because my kids would never go to that, because the consequences would be so dire if my kid acted like an animal.
We have to remember, she was an honor roll student, played on the volleyball team, and she was
the girl that did the head, or Kaylee?
No, the girl, the woman, the young girl who has assault charges.
And that's tragic. You're right. She played
orchestra, volleyball, model student. Apparently, never had any issues before.
Sometimes these things happen.
And in a fight, kids are not.
reasons.
And in a fight, kids are not. I'm telling you, if that fight occurred on grass, we would not be thinking about this. And kids are not thinking about, when you're in the moment of a fight, you're not thinking about, oh, is that surface too hard? You're just trying to eliminate the threat because somebody's trying to hurt you.
Right.
And that's what sucks about this whole thing.
The whole thing sucks.
The fight where my friend died, it was over somebody flipping the other person off. Sometimes it's just over the stupidest things.
That it just jars somebody that mad. Yeah, I get it.
Well, we can all just pray and have empathy, and we should have empathy for her in the situation she's involved in. Obviously, that's why you don't fight. If you fight, bad things can happen. And I already talked about my friend who had brain hemorrhaging because he went to a fight. Somebody beat the shit out of him. And guess what? He had brain hemorrhaging. And, they said he was within like a centimeter of losing his life because of something that happened. And he went in, and two people go in, and guess what? It's because his head hit concrete.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then you do, and I guess you have blind rage. And if they were fighting over a boy, is what the rumor is. I guess I hope that boy was worth it.
And who knows? By the way, we will cover this tomorrow, and we appreciate it, Robert. Before we get out of here today, he said that, let's see, a woman, Lambert, attended. Or wait a second, Robert. I'm trying to find. Okay, here we go. Allegedly, there was a woman. Her last name is Michigan lawyer Stephanie Lambert, arrested by U.S. Marshals in Washington, D.C. following a court appearance she had because she submitted evidence of numerous crimes, including internal emails from Dominion voting systems to law enforcement. We'll take a look at that, see if we can I don't know, arrested. I don't know if she's out on bond or what's going on. We will definitely take a look at that. Robert, if you find any information, let me know about that so we can certainly cover that tomorrow as one of the several topics that we'll try to do. We appreciate you guys joining us. Of course, it's the fastest 2 hours in podcasting. You know what we do. We appreciate you liking, subscribing, sharing the show. You can send stars on Facebook. Just continue to share it. Let people know what we do. We're here trying to bring more facts to the table than feelings. We do have feelings, but we have to have truth first. And that's why we cover all topics, not only in the state of Missouri, but around the country. As you know, we do here news headlines, politics, cancel culture education, interviews of all kinds from all across the country. And then, of course, on Fridays, we get a little wacky and crazy because the stuff is pretty deep and heavy. Monday through Thursday, you can watch us from 8 to 10 Central. But, of course, all of our episodes immediately go to our website, canceltheshow.com. And, of course, all of our shows are there. And, of course, we're also on all the audio platforms. Joe gets that to our audio stuff, all those platforms, I don't know, within 20 minutes or so usually of us being done. But so many damn topics.
Yeah, so many. And I think we hit all of them, not as maybe as deep as we wanted to, but we had so much to say.
Yeah, and special thanks to David Gregory for coming in. Gregory for Missouri, running for state senate. And I always tell people St. Louis County is liberal.
Yeah, you've always said that.
I'm telling you guys.
You've always said that. It really is.
3 state senators are Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that was Republican, and
Correct.
he is now termed out.
Yes.
So that's the spot that Dave is running for as well.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, we love you guys. Thanks again for making this show so great, so unique, our live cast. Have a great day. That does it for our fastest 2 hours in podcasting for our March 19th show. For Pro Joe and Lizzie Sparks, I'm Vic Faust. Have a great day.